We scared off the cat. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I was exhausted the last couple of days, so I have been sleeping. Hi, Tina. Good to see you. Abby, welcome. Eliza, Pina is here. Yay, one of our cleanup people. Hello, Tinny, Sammy, Laura, Tina, welcome. Oh, Tina's from Canada. Lisa, good morning to you. Kathy, hello. I think I already said hi to Kathy. Margene. Marjolaine. That's a pretty name. Una, Chatty Kathy. Hello, hello, Gina. So I wanted to start first by saying thank you, everybody, for coming in. I took a couple days off. I was pretty exhausted. I had a very, very, very busy week, and I just listened to my body when that happens, and my body just said, okay, kid, you're going to sleep for the next couple of days. So that's what I did. I just went to sleep for a few days. Hello, Patricia from Switzerland. Welcome, welcome. So we're going to do a couple things today. The first is to talk a little bit about the remote viewings. If I can find my notes. There we are. And then in addition to going over the remote viewings, we will be doing a blitz for people. I know people like the blitzes. I know people have been requesting I go into Nancy Pelosi. So I will make that the first priority today. And anything else people want me to just do a blitz on, I'm happy to do that. It's interesting. The first thing I wanted to say is that I did do a remote view of the storm a couple of days ago. This is a remote view technique that everybody can do, where you put yourself in the meditative state that we've talked about, and then you imagine yourself in the eye of the storm, and then let yourself be carried by the energy of the storm. So when I did that a couple of days ago, I kept being pulled east, northeast, rather than northwest. So it's now hitting Florida, but I didn't feel it going towards the land. It kept being pulled out to the east. Unfortunately, that was not good for the Bahamas, because that was what was east. But and now it just feels like it keeps for whatever reason, I keep getting pulled east rather than west onto the land and north. So the land is here. I keep being pulled out this way. So we'll just see what that's about and how that plays itself out. I would like to think that that's good news. I don't know. The other thing I wanted to talk about was I had a strange thought about, I know a lot of people are still interested in talking about Jeffrey Epstein. Something came up last night. A thought came up that Donald Trump may have been more involved in that arrest than I had previously thought. And if it was to silence or he was interested in possibly silencing or suppressing the voice of Jeffrey Epstein, because possibly Jeffrey Epstein had sold or used incriminating evidence against Trump to a foreign country. It's possible that Donald Trump was more involved in, and that led to Epstein's arrest. It may have been one of the reasons why Epstein was arrested. The other reason could have been because he was going after his enemies. But it's just an interesting thought, and we can look at it later today if you like. No, the DNC is not rigging. I think the Republicans want Democrats to lose faith in their party, and so this is what they do all the time. One of the things they try to do is to shut down the convention. they've been very successful in sabotaging our conventions and creating rifts like they did with the Jill Stein campaign. It's an old technique. It's called divide and conquer. It's how you are able to remain in power if you happen to be one of the people who wants to be in power, is that you simply get the underlings to fight amongst themselves, whether it's under Afrikaners control in South Africa or trying to get infighting between tribes here in the United States. But the basic premise is you get people to start fighting amongst themselves, and then they don't have any energy left over to fight the oppressor. So, yeah, they're very good at getting us to attack one another. Yeah, I'm not surprised about Trump and Epstein either. But what's interesting about the remote last night is it suggests that Trump may have been more actively involved in wanting to silence him than I had previously thought. Choking on my water. Okay. Pelosi's energy was kind of interesting. I did do a brief remote on Nancy Pelosi. It's an interesting strategic argument I was feeling from her. If they can control Trump and destroy his reputation but keep him in office, then you could theoretically have a progressive in the White House, because the progressive would be running against Donald Trump. Can everybody see that? So it would be advantageous to keep Donald Trump in office and to make him an extremely weak candidate. The concern strategically, as far as Pelosi is concerned, is that we will get rid of Trump and he'll be replaced by a formidable Republican like Kasich or Walsh. And in a general election, a moderate Republican would probably beat somebody like Elizabeth Warren or Bernie Sanders. So the concern strategically is, yay, we got him impeached, we got him out of there. But that doesn't necessarily mean good things for us when we run in 2020. So that is one of the concerns from Nancy Pelosi. As opposed to if you are completely blackmailing and disabling a candidate to the point where they have an approval rating that's below 40%, you're going to have an easy win. So those are some of the things that Nancy Pelosi is thinking about. It would also keep Pence from pardoning Trump. Because you see, from Nancy Pelosi's perspective, say we impeach him and remove him, which is what the Republicans want, because many Republicans want to put in a moderate against the Dems. So we would be playing into the hands of moderate Republicans. Does everybody get that? Whereas if we completely dismantled Trump but kept him in office, it would bode better for us theoretically in 2020. That's her concern. Okay. Hello, Jenny. All right. So anything else anybody needs me to? Oh, the other remote view I wanted to talk about had to do with what to do about the Amazon burning. And somebody had said that they wanted me to write down the six impressions that, I think there were 6 impressions we had when we meditated on how to fix the problem. It started with the self. And that is number 1, to have an eco-friendly zero waste home, that all of us can go towards a zero waste home. And that means going room to room and doing an account and a reckoning. In plain words, nothing should be in your home that would harm the Amazon rainforest. No sprays, no bug sprays, no chemicals. If something would harm the ecosystem, it needs to be removed from your home. So that would include perfumes with synthetic chemicals, rat poisons, bug sprays, shampoos, conditioners. When you go into an area like the Amazon, if you were going to be a researcher, you would only be able to bring in biodegradable soap. You probably wouldn't be wearing makeup at all, but if you did bring makeup, it would probably be an organic style type makeup. So the first is to get our homes to be eco-friendly and non-toxic. So a non-toxic home, this is good for our health. It's also good for our pocketbooks, because all of a sudden you're not spending all this money on all these chemicals that could theoretically harm the ecosystem. So that's the first thing we can do. The second thing is to recreate biodiversity in our own homes. This was the second hit I got. So, for example, every time you eat an avocado, you save the pit, you put it in a little bit of water, and then you let it grow into, it takes a couple months, into a seedling, and then you transfer it into a pot, and then theoretically, you would be growing avocado trees. You could then give those avocado trees to anybody who had land for free, and then they would be able to grow fruit-bearing trees. Same is true for your apricots, your plums, anything you're eating. Save the seeds, sprout the seeds. You can learn how to sprout them if you go to YouTube. Transfer them into pots, and then start growing. If you're buying organic fruit, etc., the seeds are precious. Don't just throw the seeds away. Start sprouting and planting them and giving them to your friends so that we can expand, right? We need to be fruitful, literally. So having biodiversity in your home, planting, bringing in ferns and other plants that remove CO2. This is another way to help the ecosystem. The third is you can get an air filter for your home. So you've done 3 things to help with the biodiversity of the planet, starting with you first, which means that you live a non-toxic life. You live in a zero-waste ecosystem. Your ecosystem has biodiversity because you are recycling. If you can compost, and you're learning how to use the seeds from your food, sprout them, collect them, grow them, put them in pots, give them to friends as gifts for the holidays. You got an air filter in to keep the air clean. And then the final thing we talk about, the fourth thing, is to clean up your diet. So we always do the kitchen last because that's the most difficult. And that is to be mindful of bringing plastic in the home, plastic containers, plastic wrap, chemicals in the food, processed food, and instead try to eat a simple diet where you buy things from the bulk bin. You can bring in paper bags or jars and then measure one of the jars so you know how much they weigh, and just collect everything in jars. You can buy jars at the 99-cent store, glass jars. And then you would be at zero waste, and you would just collect the amount of beans and rice, etc., that you need for the week. And that would also theoretically cut cost for your expenses, because you're only taking what you need from the earth. And that brings us to the fifth idea, which is to not waste. If you're going to eat meat, if you're going to eat anything, you really want to avoid waste. And that's because 1/3 of the food grown in the United States is wasted. It's thrown in the trash. And this is incredibly hard on the ecosystem. And it's one of the reasons why we have elevated CO2 and methane. If you're growing animals to be eaten and you throw 1/3 of the food away, then that's one of the worst things we can do for the ecosystem. So meat should be eaten sparingly. If you want to find out more about the environmental cost of your diet, you can go to websites like the Environmental Working Group. I can put links below. But basically the takeaway from the meditation is that if all of us created biodiversity and an eco-friendly home, if there were 10,000 of us doing it, that would be an incredible relief to the planet. So the final was to reduce waste by don't waste food, don't overcook, and don't overprepare. Leave the table satisfied but not stuffed, so you're not overeating. Is good for heart health, it's good for your health, and it's good for the planet. And then reduce animal consumption, so that if you're making something like a spaghetti bolognese with turkey, you would add some green beans towards the end, and you would cut the amount of turkey by 50%, and then just replace it with green beans. So you could do a green bean spaghetti turkey bolognese, and it would be a much more plant-based, friendly, better for your heart health, better for to reduce risk of colon cancer, higher in nutrition. You'd still be getting protein, and it'd be better for the planet, and smaller portions. Does everybody get? I was asked to go over it again. It's a lot of work, right? If we all create heaven on earth, starting with our own homes. So the question is our home heaven on earth? Have we gotten our houses in order? I guess that's what the meditation is talking about. Can we get our houses in order? And that's how you get your house in order. So when people come to your home and they enter into a space that's like a nirvana or like Eden, if somebody comes to your home and it's Eden and everything's organic and fresh, and your home and you've brought the rainforest into your home, probably you'd have a lot of friends that wouldn't want to leave, because what you've done is you've given yourself permission to create heaven on earth. So that's basically what the meditation was saying. We cannot wait for others to do this for us. We have to do it for ourselves. It's very humid, Kathy says. Yes, I'm like, for whatever reason, I keep losing my tissues. I take them, I put them down, they go missing. But yes, it's very, very humid. I took a shower and now I'm schwitzing. And I can't find my tissue. Oh, well, what can you do? I don't know. All right, so people can go ahead and start telling me, yeah, that's right, heaven on earth. And the food is great too, by the way, if you're making it from scratch, if you've got time. Don't ask me where they go. All right, let's go ahead and do a quick prayer, and then I'm going to go in and see what we see. It's a nice small group. We've got about 139 people here. Everybody get their questions in? The boat fire. It looked like some kind of thing blew up. When I did a remote on the boat fire, somebody had asked me to do that. It looked like a jug of cooking of oil that's not oil, gas. Gas from the stove blew up. Somehow it blew up. That's what it looked like. So some kind of heat must have happened, and then the gas was stored in these containers, and then the containers seem to have blown up, and that seems to have been the source of the accident. But, was it a candle? What caused these containers to blow up? I don't know, but that's what I saw. I don't know who Dr. Helen Caldecott is. The name sounds vaguely familiar. RBG, hold on, let's start writing this stuff down. Okay, we're going to do Nancy Pelosi. I feel like we've already covered it, but we can do it again. We'll do RBG. The Freedom Caucus. The oxygen tanks, is that what I'm looking at? Ian might know. It's, but but they're shorter, and you carry them like this, and then there's a tube, and they connect it with the gas stove. So I think that's what I'm seeing. That heated up and blew up, and it created an explosion from the pressure and the heat and the gas. Quorum meatless meat products. Okay, but I think they've got eggs in them. I don't think Quorum is vegan, but it's still supposed to be good. Propane, that's it. Yeah, it was like propane tanks blew up. That's what I saw. Yeah, it was caused by igniting propane tanks. Thank you, hominy. Thank you. It could be oxygen tank. I don't know. Just some tanks blew up, but it was like a liquid natural gas or a liquid gas of some type. Yeah. Which means that it probably started in the galley. Okay. Let's go ahead and do a prayer, and then if anybody has any more questions, we can go ahead and do that next. All right. I want to call on white light protection for myself and my audience as we ask permission from Spirit to access the Akashic records. We call on our spirit guides and good angels to be with us. Give us the clarity and wisdom that is needed to empower the people who watch this channel to make the best decisions for themselves, for the people they love, for their family, for the planet. And with that, I say amen. All right, let us first do Donald Trump and what the month is going to be like. I know we're going to use my senior deck today, so everything's straight up. Somebody had said, why is your senior deck all straight up? Because when I first learned to read cards, it was all straight up. And I just like it, so I always kept my senior deck straight up. All right, so I want to just see what the country's going to be doing this month and Donald Trump. What's going on with Donald Trump? So it looks like the picture of Ghislaine Maxwell was the whole scene was set up by her attorney. So the picture was real, and it was her attorney that took the photographs. This is what I'm reading. Something about it seemed real to me, but that isn't the end of the story. The end of the other part of the story is that somebody claiming to be G. Maxwell wrote a review for the book that she was supposedly reading, Code of Honor, about the CIA operatives who basically are killed. So people are trying to figure out if she's trying to get the word out that he was an operative, or I don't know. It would make sense because that would coincide with the remotes we did a couple months ago. All right. What's going to be for the country and Donald Trump this month? Let us take a look. It concerns me if Donald Trump is behind the Epstein arrest, because that would mean that they were intentionally, that's not good, right? Okay, let's take a look. Base of the matter, trying to flee and hanging it up. It's again talking about this idea that Trump is considering leaving or fleeing the presidency. This is weird in the sense that September feels like a month when things are going to accelerate for the president. Fleeing like a thief, trying to get away from something, hanging it up. where he is at right now, feeling trapped. He feels that he has no advocates anymore. He feels like he's no longer protected. He feels like everybody has turned their back on him. He's begun to transfer money from some accounts into others. I'm getting a vision or an image of him instructing certain people to begin clearing out or moving money. So we're starting to see money movement. This is Mr. Trump's personal finances. I'm not talking about the government here. So his business is under serious scrutiny, but he does have hidden money. This is about finances, possibly shuffling or moving money, and concerns about people finding hidden money. It's almost like it's under lock and key. Something's going on with him and William Barr also. There's some real confusion, not knowing what choices to make, conflict with exchanges with other people, a concern about being trapped with his finances and business, concern about somebody in a position of power, a judge or the legal system. I'm assuming it could be Barr, trying to negotiate an out or an alternative. A judgment is right over him. A lot of people that backed this president are facing serious legal and financial consequences as a result of taking on this president. He's concerned that more will come out and the law is continuing to come after him. So I would not say that these cards are good. These cards suggest some kind of legal issue headed his way, concerns about legal issue, a lack of allies, a concern about the truth coming out, a concern that his allies are wiped out. They've been bankrupted, they've been threatened, their businesses are underwater. There's a feeling like everybody who wanted to support him has bailed because it's no longer feasible for them to do so. But in addition to all of that, he's got this strong energy of the law, or a feeling like somebody is coming in to establish appropriate boundaries. He's alone. And there comes that offer again. It's very interesting and it's very complicated because it goes back to that issue of what I was saying before, that Nancy Pelosi sees that if you keep this president in the White House, but you keep his approval rating at 40%, that would be all we would need to do to win the presidency. Removing him and replacing him with Pence and having a primary challenger that beats Trump would actually decrease our risk of taking the White House if you had somebody like Kasich or another moderate running against someone like Elizabeth Warren. So those are some of the strategies that Pelosi is thinking about right now. But I'll go ahead and I will look at Pelosi's cards just to see how she's doing, because I know Marie's table, she had trouble seeing Pelosi. Sometimes that can happen where you just have a block, you don't know why, and you just have to just say, I can't get in. All right, let's go in and take a look at Nancy Pelosi. The Republican Party likes to come up with rumors about Pelosi because she's the most powerful female in DC. She's extremely smart. She wants to drag it out until it's too late for them to get a primary person to challenge Trump. She's trying to delay so that they're stuck with Trump. She does not want to bail the Republicans out, which is what the Republicans are asking of the Democrats. They're asking us to bail them out. The Master's card. I can't tell you how many times when I go into Nancy Pelosi's energy that I pull the Master's card, the Lover's card. She is in a really strong position of power right now. Negotiations connected to a higher purpose. There's no confusion. She's not gaslit. This is somebody who knows precisely what she's there to do, and she is just pounding away at the books. This is the kind of formidable enemy that Trump probably would like to not have to deal with. She's working on the budget. She's also she's meticulously going through the budget. You can see here a page of swords crossing the budget card, or a page of pentacles, the news or information about the finances. So she's probably making sure she's hand auditing, because when you do a budget for the government, evidently they can play with it a little bit. And so what she's had to do based on this remote is that she's had to go in and audit and make sure that everything that was approved goes to the agencies, and that no money has been transferred to another department in order to build a wall or something like that. So she has the power, it appears, to go in and cut off the transfer and say, no, we did not approve that. And so she's having to do this all the time. She's constantly having to go through the money and audit and police what they're up to. And it's a source of incredible frustration for Donald Trump. It's a constant battle. You can see a 9 of Wands coming in, and it has to do with the money and cutting off the streams of money. She feels that now Trump is the enemy they know. That's the best way to describe it. Trump is the enemy that they know, and so consequently, because they do have so much compromising information on Trump, he is easier to control than, say, a legitimate president. She is very closely connected with the military right now. You can see where she is at right now, the King of Swords. This is a very logical, professional chart of somebody who's very clear. There's no confusion here. I love this card, by the way, because the clearer she becomes, she's totally connected to the Godhead. You can see in this picture of the woman, and he is looking at her. And it's kind of nice. It's that idea that when we are in our full spiritual power, that is when we are the most beautiful or the most compelling. I love that. What is around the budget, the woman of the budget, making of budgets, appropriate behavior, boundaries, working with the military, the water protectors, working with the environment, again, working with boundaries. The final outcome, she will be victorious. This is also a January card, as you know, because it's a year's card. We do years with the swords. It can mean within 1 year. It also means January. I always think of it as January, the time of January. Look at that double aces. She has an ace of pentacles. That doesn't surprise me because of what she does for a living, doing the budget. But the clarification, again, is that she will dump this president. She'd like him to leave, but not give the... let me explain it to you. It looks like what she wants to do is she wants to slowly, methodically tear this president's legitimacy apart without removing him in order to strengthen the hand of the Democrats, but she doesn't want to remove him and have us deal with somebody who may be a harder candidate to beat. That's her strategy. I hope that answers people's question about where Nancy Pelosi is at. She is ready to complete. She has a lot of information against him, and she is storing it up. So say 3 months before the election, that would be when she would theoretically push him out or hit him really hard. And then the Republicans would be stumbling about, and that's when we would go in and take Congress and the presidency. That's where her head is at. She's thinking of it like a chessboard. If you completely dismantle him and everybody that supported him slowly and systematically over the next 9 months, and then cut him off 2-3 months beforehand so that they're floundering, and then you go in with a strong progressive agenda, that's your best chance of pushing your agenda in 2020. Does that answer everyone's questions? I hope so. Yeah, she is a hero. You know, I just don't think like this because I just don't have a brain for this sort of thing. But I'm learning a lot about strategy and stuff by being a remote viewer. Because it's like, oh, that's what she's doing. Well, that makes a lot of sense. Because if we help the Republicans out that desperately want this guy gone, and we push impeachment, and push the he's crazy scenario, which is what the Republicans want us to do. Yeah, help us. No, we're not going to help you out. We're not going to help you remove this president. You voted for him. You created this mess. We are simply going to keep our own ship afloat, or keep our own house in order, continue to collect information on this president, and then slowly, methodically show our hand. And any chances that he will ever win the presidency again will be, there won't be any hope, because she took control, slowly and systematically took control of the narrative. All right, so the next thing I want to do is I just want to check to see Ghislaine Maxwell one more time. And I want to see if Donald Trump was the one responsible, if he and the Republicans were responsible for taking Jeffrey Epstein out. Because if they were, it was probably because they were concerned that information could be weaponized against the president or the GOP. If the GOP was weaponizing or using information that had been collected by Epstein in order to blackmail Democrats, then that would be a very serious legal problem for the Republicans. If the CIA was weaponizing information that they had collected from informants to help or assist a particular political party that they tended to favor, that would also be a very serious legal problem to come out of this. We do know that Epstein was an informant for the FBI and possibly the CIA and possibly Mossad. If he was giving information or blackmailing Republicans blackmailing Democrats with the assistance or aid of foreign governments or even our own intelligence agencies, that's a major constitutional crisis. And for starters, because the CIA is not a branch of the American government, it's not a democratic branch of the government. And so for them to have that kind of power brings with it all kinds of moral and ethical, legal and constitutional challenges. And it could be that in the grand scheme of things, there are people that are working on that investigation to see if that is what's happened. Were they actively aiding and abetting the Republicans? Okay, so we're going to go in and take a quick look at Ghislaine Maxwell and the future of that investigation. Sorry about the noise. It is trash day, and I've got a window open. Ghislaine Maxwell. What is going to be with Ghislaine Maxwell? I'd like to know if the Republican Party was responsible for his death, or the Democrats, or a foreign country. A lot of people didn't want him around, that's for sure. We learn a lot from these cards readings, that's for sure. All right, Ghislaine. She's cooperating with the investigation. She's some type of an informant, or she's somehow attached to the law, the judge. Yehudit's card is associated with her. I always think of Ghislaine Maxwell as the Queen of Pentacles, the businesswoman. Where she is at right now, working on her legal case. She took an offer. She cooperated very early on. There's a justice. She's probably working to get a lesser sentence because of who she assisted. It became normal. That's what she says. It became normal. So the remote view I did last night on Ghislaine Maxwell, she gave me a peering into, it was a very brief vision. And in the vision, it was this idea that his massages were normal in their world, normal in quotation marks. The fact that he liked massages, the fact that he liked getting massages from pretty girls had become normalized. This is the couple that has a charity to go to at 8 o'clock, and Ghislaine Maxwell is putting on her makeup, and she's a little delayed because her boyfriend's getting a massage. It is that normal to them. You know, putting on your earrings, talking on the phone, a friend comes over and you say, yes, we're going to go to such and such an event. We're running late because Jeffrey's getting a massage. It's very hard for us with our view of the world to understand how something this sick could become so normalized, that somebody could become that compartmentalized where they've learned to just let him get his massages because that's what he likes, put on a nice dress, and then go to a charity event and raise money for some charity. That kind of compartmentalization is very hard for people to understand, and yet to some extent human beings all have the capacity to do this. It's disturbing, and it's just a disturbing aspect of this story. The Devil card, legal. She still has legal problems associated with this to her former relationships. She really believes she's going to be okay. She really believes that she's going to be protected financially, that she's going to come out of this, that she cooperated, that she had good legal counsel, that she's going to be able to retain her money, that she is going to cooperate, give all the information to the people necessary. She's going to be completely truthful, but her former relationships still continue to be a source of problems for her. And specifically, she has information about this president and other people in high positions of power that could be quite damning. And so some kind of as long as she can keep herself safe, she probably could work something out. Her cards suggest that she's going to be able to work out a deal. I know that's not what everybody wants to hear, but that's what it looks like. Okay, so the next is people wanted me to check on RBG to see if she is okay and if okay, are people buffering? I'm sorry. I did look at Andrew Yang. I didn't see him getting in very far. Okay, let's look at RBG. Is she okay? Is she okay? I think she's an Aries, isn't she? People know her sign. It'd be very appropriate if she was. Okay, how is RBG doing? How is she doing? The base of the matter. She's got a Four of Pentacles there, so that would suggest retracted energy. But it's also the card of intense examination. And there's a King of Pentacles there. So it's a time of retracted energy. It's a time where she's very focused. It's a time when she understands that she has to conserve her energy. So she understands, RBG, that she has a limited amount of time and a limited amount of energy. And so it's concentrated. She chooses her battles now. Where she's at right now. Past placement, Queen of Swords. She's having a real hard time keeping up with the load or the work demands. One of the ways that she was able to deal with the work demands in the past was, again, that she would take frequent rest, and the energy she had would go towards her work. However, now, even with her conserving her energy, she's still struggling with having enough energy to complete the work. So this is the main issue for as far as she's concerned. Even if she takes frequent breaks, even if she has naps, even if she does everything to maximize the amount of energy she has throughout the day, it becomes a source of problems, and she's beginning to think it's not fair to the American people. It becomes a problem where she questions whether or not she's doing morally the right thing by not being able to keep up with the load. What is over her an offer? So yeah, people wanting her to leave. There's also promises that if she leaves, people are promising her that they will push for a moderate. People in the Senate are saying to her privately, maybe not directly, but there are whispers of a moderate, Six of Cups, that they will work it out, the load. There's a lot here about her having difficulty keeping up with the load right now. You can see these two cards, Nine of Swords, pain at night, migraines, headaches, stress, about what sits in the heart of the load. Evidently, things have become very intense with the SCOTUS position. Just a lot of work. I just see a lot of work and questions about whether or not she can continue. She's actually surprisingly developed a good relationship with Kavanaugh and with other members of the SCOTUS that are conservative. And she's actually working on a couple things with, there's a bill coming in, and she's actually working with Kavanaugh here. They're not at war. A desire to spend more time with family also. She's got a Queen of Cups card, which is the heart card, coming in the 7th house. Yeah, I think she's going to resign. Three of Cups with a 5 of Cups with 3 cups fall into remaining. I'm concerned that we could see her leaving before the winter of 2020. I mean, the winter of 2019. So we will know within the next 3 to 4 months whether or not she's stepping down. Just because her cards show a conflict between business, work, exhaustion, limited energy, and love, family, spending time with grandkids if she has them. It's that kind of a The final outcome, the Empress, abundance, but there's a 5 of Cups there. 4 of Pentacles as the base. This is someone who feels the need to wind down, and I think in about 4 or 5 months we could see a resignation. I know that's not what people want to hear. There does seem to be an energy sweeping across the Republicans where they so desperately want things to get back to normal. We're talking about moderate Democrats, that there seems to be some guarantee or promise that they will work to bring in a moderate. I don't know what that's about. Not everybody likes Mitch McConnell, who's in the Senate, who's a GOP person. Many feel that he's actually created rifts that's going to take years to correct. Many moderate Republicans secretly are complaining about him and yelling about the fact that he has created problems that they're going to be stuck dealing with. He's very stubborn, even with other members of the GOP. There are things they wanted him to do, like during the government shutdown, that he refused to do. And so they're not fans of his, and they question a lot of what he's done up to this point. Okay, we're going to look at the future of the Freedom Caucus next. People enjoying this? Mila got chased off. The bell, she was trying to sleep and I started ringing the bell. She was like, I can't sleep with that thing ringing. Freedom Caucus. What's the future of the Freedom Caucus? The music always wins. That's what I hear. Reminds me of when people were buying Beatles albums and burning them because they thought that the Beatles were agents of the devil. Anybody remember that from the 1960s? They were going out and buying Beatles albums and then burning them, which of course just increased sales of Beatles albums. And now when you listen to Beatles songs, it's like, it's the Beatles. So people evolved beyond that, but the music won. All you need is love. The cooperation, the spiritual aspects of that music became a far more powerful thing for people to move towards than fighting, distension, tribalism. Cooperation is stronger, particularly when the message is positive. And that's kind of where we find ourselves energetically right now, where people are moving towards good music, cooperation, peace, harmony, a gentle fall, a cool breeze coming in. Boris Johnson, well, we can, but I thought Boris Johnson was going to go up in flames, and that looks to be what's happened. Okay, the Freedom Caucus. The Freedom Caucus is kind of interesting in the sense that they are starting to erode from within. You can see a 2 of Cups moving in with a moon card, and that suggests that they're trying to do deals with people that they normally couldn't stand. This is a situation, if you're looking at this energetically as I see it, of a group that is attempting to enter into negotiations with somebody who they either were confused or disliked, or some aspect of the relationship was problematic for them. So they are now in a situation where they're willing to work with people they wouldn't work with in the past. Where they're at right now, strong and karma. So there's an aspect to this where they were strong for a long time. They're in a strong position now, but the wheel of karma is right over them, and that would suggest that it's probably going back to the power appears to be waning. There's a Page of Wands, a new beginning. Somebody is going to take the party in a new direction. They want to modernize the Freedom Caucus. That's the best way. Page of Wands is the pioneer's card who starts a new movement, and you can see an Ace of Wands there. The fact that they're entering into negotiations and creating alliances that they didn't have before leads me to think that they're moving less towards fighting and more towards cooperation, integration, and modernization of the movement. Part of it is because they're limited and there's only so far they can get because they're losing their base. If you have a really, really small base that cannot sustain itself, you're going to have to create a wider coalition simply to allow the party to continue. So the party, the Freedom Caucus, has to evolve because it's crumbling from within. Questioning the ethos of the party, and then the final outcome, smoother waters. So they're becoming moderates. They're moving towards moderation. They're working on becoming more intellectual, more moderate, more inclusive. It would suggest that they're moving away from this president more towards moderate and a cooperative energy like everybody else. All right, so the next thing we're going to be looking at is the Amazon and whether or not the Amazon's going to be okay. People wanted to know about that. It would be great if the 10,000 people that have subscribed to this channel would all create an Amazon in their own home, right? Then we'd have 10,000 Amazons. If you want to find out more about how to attract songbirds, you can also go to the Audubon Society and the Sierra Club as well, and they can tell you what native plants to grow in your lawn to attract songbirds. And Mila has a controlled area, and we have a little bell for her because she did used to hurt the birds. All right, what is going to be with the Amazon and the environment? Base of the matter, strong and charities. The charities are coming in. The charities, the benefactors, the money is coming in. Millionaires, billionaires, investors, strong. There's aid. We get our wish regarding the ethos, right? So there is a sweeping movement globally to protect the Amazon. And you can see the benefactor coming in. What is above? The hardening of the heart. This is something that I see a lot with the president. Closed, stubborn. I have a feeling he's not going to last long in his current position because people don't like him very much. Hanging it up. Growth. This president is becoming increasingly very, very unpopular. So much so that people could be working independently of the Brazilian government. And private corporations could come in and save the Amazon. If he wants to privatize, there are people with big money that are going to come in and be engaged with environmental friendly commerce. And also the law is coming in. The international law is coming in. Well, I think it goes back to that whole idea of survival. Human beings are not going to let the planet go up in smoke. We're going to take care of ourselves first. And that seems to be, I don't think this president's going to stay there for very long. If he does stay, he's very controlled with energy like that. All right, people wanted me to look at Boris Johnson next. What a sad character he is. So his own party is now moving away from him. Yes, we got to feed the hummingbirds. Pieces of paper don't tell us about destiny, Jose. Our gut instinct does. Our gut, our thoughts tell us. And we use these types of images just to trigger our own gut instincts. It could be entirely random. It's not the cards that matter. It's how the cards trigger your own gut instincts. There does appear to be a physics aspect to it in the sense that when you program your cards to mean certain things, they will work with you. And there's a aspect to it which I can't really explain, but there seems to be something to why the cards fall the way they do. But it's really, Jose, about triggering your own subconscious. This is what Carl Jung found fascinating. It's why we use ink blots in psychology. We show someone a picture of an ink blot and then it triggers thoughts or ideas that might be suppressed or buried. And it goes back also to this idea of that we connect with our intuition, and Hitler thought he was going to win the war. I don't know. He was a drug addict, so. All right, Boris Johnson. What is going to be with Boris Johnson? I've always looked at the cards similar to how Carl Jung looks at the cards, in the sense that I think that we are a lot more intelligent than we realize, and yeah. Strength card coming in, he's in a position of power, but 8 of Wands is moving in, which is to be defensive or to try and hold on to one's territory. I don't see him in a power position for much longer with the 7 of Wands there. In plain words, he started off strong, but that 7 of Wands coming in, which by the way has an environmental aspect as well. I don't know, folks. He's entering into a pretty defensive state. It's not going anywhere. The negotiations are stalled regarding Brexit. He seems to have infuriated everybody. There's a feeling that the entire world is angry at him. There's a tower above him. So Britain is headed towards some kind of major fighting, but I don't see a deal. It's like screaming and yelling, but no deal. Regarding what? Anger. So people are becoming frightened. People are becoming frantic. There's fighting. I see a lot of fighting with the Knight of Swords in the 3rd house. Tower. It's a potentially very volatile situation right now in Britain. He's trying to get back to former alliances, people that he had relationships with in the past that were enthusiastic about Brexit, but have since become lukewarm. You can see a 6 of Cups moving in. That's to try and reach out to alliances from the past. Victory. He thinks he can be victorious. 6 months, the 6 of Wands card, new alliances. He wants to build new alliances with new conditions in order to push it through. The Thief attempts to flee. So what he's trying to do is he's trying to strengthen old alliances that are falling apart. That's one of the things that Boris Johnson is trying to do. And he's doing it by sweetening the pot. Well, if you come back to me, I'll do this, that, and the other for you. So he's trying to seduce people that have broken away from his coalition. And he's also trying to enter into new alliances with people that did not want Brexit in the first place. Let's see. There's a possibility that what Boris Johnson is trying to do is illegal or goes against existing laws in Britain. You can see the King of Wands moving in. the head of the tribe or somebody in a position of power coming in and stabilizing the situation, this could erode into chaos really quickly. I'm sorry to say. All right, did we get to everything? We've been going for about an hour. Right, avoid pesticides. That is our assignment, to live in a zero waste home. Gaia comes first. Everybody's home is going to be a replica of a biodiverse organic ecosystem. It's kind of cool to play in my kitchen like that because I save all my seeds, and I've got like I have 4 avocado plants right now I'm about to transfer. And I'm soaking one peach pit. I'm so excited. I love peaches. All right. Thanks, everybody. So start planting those seeds and start giving those fruit-bearing trees to everybody you love, or see if you can also get permission from your city to plant fruit-bearing trees in your neighborhood. Many cities allow you to do that. I know we have fruit-bearing tree programs both in New York State and in California and in Washington State as well. So yeah, it'd be cool if you could just green your neighborhood with some of the stuff you're doing. You can also transfer plants, you can do cuttings, etc., and just do what Gaia wants us to do, which is expand her goodness outward. All right, thanks for watching, everybody. Be sure and share, like, subscribe, and click on the bell notification so that you can find out about upcoming remote viewings and tarot readings. I absolutely love doing this work, and I love reaching out to people through the YouTube community. If you'd like to get an appointment with me, I do phone readings Tuesdays to Saturday. I do phone readings. I'm based here in Los Angeles. You would simply book with the information below, and then I call you at the appointed time. If you are outside the United States, please leave a note for me, and then I will send you a link to my live chat room. All right, thanks for watching, everybody, and we'll see you next time. Peace out. Bye.